to journalists, just like there are other two. And our Article 10 of the Constitution requires us to observe those key principles that we have talked about: patriotism, national unity, human rights, human dignity, inclusiveness, good governance, protection of rights is important. That even as we write about others, we must also be aware. And we want to encourage you to read. Some of these things were brought in the new constitution when wetu hatujazisoma. And that's why we are taking time. So it's a national expectation. In fact, in our performance contract, we must report what we have done. So the other thing, we have said that we will do a summary of the chapter, Article 10 of the Constitution. We put in a poster and put in all newsrooms in the country so that journalists can quickly refer. We have done gender, we have done safety charter, so we do also a charter on national values so that people can easily. And why do we focus on national values as a people? That there are national interests, that Kenya as a nation, that will only be guarded if people respect some of these things we are talking about. And we have mentioned public goods, national unity, nationhood, development, protection of human rights, and related. If we are a country and the president has repeated that a country that respects the rule of law, we must respect the rights of others. We must value that for us to change even our economic status, we must invest. How does this development come? We must package news in a manner that shows Kenya as an investment and a good destination for investors who can come and the investment is protected. Governments cannot provide employment for all people. In all world, governments are to provide a good policy. Private investors invest to give employment to people. So that's what we are talking about, that we must. But we have a bigger role. And media also, look at yourself as small enterprises. We never look at ourselves as investors. So that if, for example, your TV station is based in Bungoma and you write stories that create chaos in Bungoma, where will your reporters go to report from? So it also affects us as business people. A number of us have piki and Ted will be talking about financial literacy for journalists. When you get a little money, where do you invest in? We can never depend on newsrooms alone as a source of income. We must also, as journalists, start forming press clubs, start forming investment clubs so that we invest. You will not have the same energy you have right now. Kukimbia bodaboda unakava 10 events in a day. Utafika mahali kama sisi kitambi na kuwa kubwa nguvu inaisha, you can only cover one. So, and what will happen to you? And many of the energy comes because kuna bahasha 10 umehesabu. Sasa ukishafika unapiga uko hapa unasema mgeni uniandikie jina mnitumie kitu yangu hata huko enda huko. So that's what we are saying, that we must start also changing how we relate and do our work. But most importantly, national values are important. I've told you other countries have what is called a Patriotism Act. Other countries, there are some things you can never do even as a journalist. And there are other laws like national security and others. But under the national values, we need to have values as a country. We need to have values as journalists, that even without media council or police arresting you or a politician insulting you, there are those things you say I can do and others I can't do. If it's a terrorism story, a national security story, I must be cautious about how I frame this story, how I package this story, so that because I have a country where we need tourists to come, I have a country where development must happen. But at the same time, as a journalist, I have a responsibility to expose those road or sleeping on the job by security agents. But how do I balance as a person? Do I have a stake in Kenya, or I write the way I want because I can run to another country? So it's not an issue of compromise, but an issue of balancing and saying, at this stage, since this thing has happened, how do we balance as journalists, as Kenyans, aware that we need to have national unity, aware that we have national security, but at the same time we have a responsibility to be watchdogs and do civic education.